Hello everyone, welcome back to the Pisces Man. And today we're talking about one of the most feared periods in Vedic astrology. Okay, it's called the Sade Sati. The famous 7.5 years of bad luck. The period that many people call Saturn's curse. The period that many people blame for every problem in their life. But is it really 7.5 years of bad luck? Or is there something much deeper going on? We're going to break it down in very, very, very simple terms today. What exactly is this 7.5 years Saturn's curse? Also, what effects it might have on one. And also, we are going through the 7.5 period. We're halfway through. Congratulations, Pisces. Almost out of this. Now, I'm not going to complicate this. We're going to simply explain. I'm not going to confuse anyone. If you have any questions, you can write down in the comments down below. I'm going to simplify everything. I'm going to explain everything very, very simply now. Okay, and just by the end of the video, you'll understand exactly where Pisces ascendant or Pisces moon sign is right now and what has happened since 2023. Why many Pisces people are much closer to the finish line, okay? Which is great news. Which is great news because it's going to be a great time once this whole thing is over. Okay, now let's start with the most important question. What exactly is Sade Sati? Okay, for this video, we're talking mainly about Pisces moon sign. All right, so this is when your moon is in Pisces. Now, Pisces and Aquarius sits immediately before Pisces. So the 11th house is Aquarius. And Aries is the first house, so it sits right after Pisces. Okay, these three signs are the entire Sade Sati journey, or 7.5 years. Sade Sati means 7. Sade Sati means 7.5 years. Okay, in I think in Hindi, yeah. Okay, so the three signs are Aquarius, Pisces, Aries. Okay, 1, 12, 11. Saturn spends roughly 2.5 years in each sign. 2.5 years in Aquarius, 2.5 years in Pisces, 2.5 years in Aries. That gives us approximately 7.5 years. And that's why it's called Sade Sati, 7.5 years. Now, according to traditional Vedic astrology, Sade Sati begins when Saturn enters the sign before your moon sign. Okay, then while Saturn travels through your moon sign and finally ends when the Saturn leaves the sign after your moon sign. This is the whole circle. 7.5 years completed. Okay, so the phase 1 for Pisces moon sign begins with Aquarius. Okay, and then phase 2 is Pisces, and phase 3 is Aries. Simple, right? Okay, we understand this. Now, why are some people, or you know what, why is everyone so afraid of this period? Because Saturn is a planet of responsibility. Okay, it's a planet of discipline. It's a planet of patience. It moves very slowly. It's a planet of hard work. Okay, it shows you reality. Saturn is not interested in comfort. Saturn is more interested in growth. And growth is uncomfortable. That's why people call it Sade Sati, 7.5 years of bad luck. Personally, I think it's better described as 7.5 years of reality, because Saturn starts exposing everything that isn't working. It exposes your bad habits, your bad decisions, your bad relationships, your bad financial habits. Anything weak will get tested. And anything strong will become stronger. Now, let's go back to where this story started. Before Sade Sati began, Saturn was in Capricorn. And for Pisces moon signs, Capricorn is the 11th house. I'm sorry, the 10th house. Oh, sorry, no. Yeah, the 11th house. Okay, the house of gains. The house of income, friendship, networks, long-term goals. Yeah, this was roughly between 2020 and early 2023. So you can, if you're a Pisces moon sign, you can correlate with this. If this happened to you, or you felt this way during this period, go back to 2020, 2023. At what stage of life were you in? What was going on with your life? Many Pisces people during this period were trying to build something. Maybe a career, maybe a business, maybe a relationship, maybe a new future. And life wasn't easy at this period, even when Saturn was in Capricorn. But there was movement. Even though when it was difficult, there was movement. There was progress. There were usually goals ahead. You would have something to look forward to. Then, in January 2023, Saturn entered Aquarius. Now, this is officially the starting of Sade Sati. Aquarius is in the 12th house from Pisces. And the 12th house is traditionally linked with expenses. It's linked with isolation, with foreign countries, with hospitals, with your sleep, with letting go of things. Now think back to 2023 and 2024. How many people disappeared from your life? How many friendships ended? How many plans changed? How much money left your bank account? How many times did you feel isolated? Many of you Pisces people experience exactly this. Okay? Some of you moved countries. I moved countries personally. Okay? This is the time when I got a job in a different country and I moved. I left my first country. I changed. You may have changed jobs as well. Okay? For me, I got a higher position, a better paying job during this period. It wasn't easy, but I progressed. Okay? Relationships ended. Friendships lost. Bigger expenses coming in. Many of you might have felt that life was taking away from you something. And this first phase often feels strange. It's not necessarily painful. It can be confusing. You know something is ending, but you don't know yet what is beginning, if that makes sense. It's like cleaning your house. It looks messier before it looks cleaner, That's phase 1. All right. It may, you see, I would say my Saturn is well placed. And it wasn't an easy time for me as well. But I progressed. Now, if your Saturn is not well placed, then you might feel the negatives more than the positives. Okay? Do leave in the comment section what was your first phase of Sade Sati like. Okay, now let's talk about March 2025. Saturn left Aquarius and entered Pisces, the first house. And this is where we are right now. June 2026 is when I'm uploading this video. I made this video and Saturn is in our first house. Saturn is sitting in Pisces, directly on the moon sign. This is the middle phase, the second phase. And many astrologers will say that this is the most intense phase because Saturn is no longer beside the moon, is sitting directly on top of it. This is where many Pisceans will start feeling very different. You will feel more serious. You will look more serious to others. You will have more responsibilities. You look more tired. Okay, mentally you'll be tired and physically you will look tired. Your eyes would give it away. You'll be more focused on reality. You will start questioning everything. Am I in the right career? Am I wasting my potential? Am I with the right people? Why does everything feel so slow? Why does life feel so difficult, so heavy? And honestly, it is heavy at this period. It is difficult. Second phase is not easy. Because Saturn is asking you to grow up in certain areas of life. Saturn is asking you to become stronger. And strength isn't built during comfortable times. Strength is built during difficult times. Now, here's something I've noticed over and over and over again, right? Most people don't fail during Sade Sati because Saturn defeats them. They fail because they quit. They stop going to the gym, they stop studying, they stop building that business that they were planning, they stop applying for jobs, they stop trying. Then they blame Saturn. But Saturn didn't stop them. They stopped themselves. Because Saturn loves one thing more than talent. Saturn loves consistency. The person who keeps showing up. Saturn loves that person. Saturn loves the person who keeps working. Saturn loves the person who keeps trying. And those are usually the people Saturn rewards later. Now here's the part where everybody's waiting for it. June 2027. Saturn finally leaves Pisces, the first house. And it goes into Aries. Now this is the third and final phase. Aries becomes the second house from Pisces. The second house deals with money, savings, your family, your resources, long-term stability. And this is where Pisces people start feeling noticeably lighter. Not overnight, not magically, but noticeably. The emotional pressure starts reducing. The constant questioning that you had about life, about your career, that reduces. It won't stop, it will reduce. Life, you will see, will start moving forward again. Now it feels stuck. It's been stuck since 2023. Now Saturn begins asking a different question. What did you build during this period? Or what did you learn? What skills did you develop? Did you become more disciplined? Did you become more stronger? Did you become wiser? Because the third phase is often where people start seeing the results of the work that they did earlier. Okay, the results that the effect of things that you've done in January of 2023, it's going to show up now. The results are never immediate. It's gradual. Okay, but now I have to mention something important. Not every Pisces moon sign will experience Sade Sati the same way. If your Saturn is not well placed, some people are going to lose their jobs. Some people will get promoted. Some people will struggle financially. Some people will become really wealthy. Some people will get divorced. Some people get married. Why? Because your birth chart matters, guys. Especially your natal Saturn. How is your Saturn placed in your own birth chart? A strong Saturn in the birth chart can bring major achievements during Sade Sati. Promotions, success in your business. You may buy properties, long-term wealth. And if you have a weak Saturn, the same lessons are going to become really, really, really hard. Okay, the delays are going to be longer. The pressure is going to be intense. And that is why astrology must always be personalized. Now let's come back to today, okay? June of 2026. If you're watching this right now, you already completed more than half of your 7.5 years. This journey. Crazy. You're not at the beginning anymore. You're much closer to the finish line than the starting line. Okay, that's important to remember because Saturn don't think in days, months, years, okay? Saturn does not think like that. Saturn asks you a very, very simple question. Or Saturn wants to know one simple thing from you. Will you keep going even when the results are slow? Will you keep working even when nobody notices you? Will you keep showing up even when you don't feel like it? Because that is Saturn's favorite test. It loves it. It loves doing that. You wake up in the morning, you're like, I'm going to skip work today. I'm going to call in sick. That's Saturn making you feel like that. But Saturn is testing you. Will you get up and go to work? Those who pass the test, something interesting usually happens. And don't expect that something interesting to be happening immediately, right when you wake up, you got to work and wow, someone praises you. No, it happens after, years later. Years later, you're going to look back and realize Saturn wasn't trying to destroy your life. Okay, Saturn was building the version for you, of you, that could handle a bigger future. So yes, Sade Sati can be very difficult. Yes, it can feel really heavy. It can feel frustrating. And if you're a Pisces Moon watching this in June 2026, remember this. You're already halfway through this. The final phase begins in 2027. The emotional pressure will begin easing off. And by June 2029, the whole chapter is done. It's over. It's the end. The question is not whether Saturn will change your life, okay? The question is who you will become by the time this whole period is over, when Saturn leaves. And that might be the most important part of this Sade Sati. And you will be changed, trust me. Okay? Now, I hope I explained it very simply. I hope everyone understood what that means, so you don't have to go read too much about this. I'm going to start a new series about learning astrology, so you can read your own chart. If you're interested, do let me know. I'll be posting my first video maybe tomorrow. So I'll be starting from the basics and then working to more difficult topics in astrology. And basically astrology is only about experience, okay? What I might interpret may be different than what you interpret based on who you're with or what kind of people you deal with. It comes from experience I've learned. I was at a point where I didn't know anything about astrology, okay? I only heard about things. But the more you learn, if you're interested in this, and if you're interested to make money through this as well, I don't make money through this, but you can. If you become a really good astrologer, you can start a YouTube channel, start learning, teaching people, or you can start reading other people's chart for fun maybe, or for money as well. But yeah, I'm going to post my first video probably tomorrow. Okay, we'll start from the basics and then we'll go advanced. And it's going to be free, of course. It's going to be free. I always do everything free. If you feel that somebody's getting in touch, trying to get in touch with you, asking for money, that's not me, okay? I don't ask for money. Okay, cool. Take care now. Bye-bye, guys. I hope this video helped you guys. Leave a comment down below.